to Sky to the basket.
And Perez deals. Fastball hit in the air to left field. That's deep. Back goes Chavez back near the wall, leaping, and he made the catch. He took a home run away from Roland, trying to get back to first Edmonds. He's doubled off, and the inning is over. Andy Chavez saved the day.
Eli throwing into traffic on the sideline. They're going to rule it a catch by Manningham.
Sanchez, corner of the end zone. For the second time today, Santonio Holmes on the receiving end of a touchdown. This one with 10 seconds to play.
This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
That's right. Welcome to another Monday edition of WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. And usually we like to call this the New York Football Misery Hour for all those who celebrate, but we actually saw a win.
And not yesterday. A good one.
And not from the team that was, well, now formerly in playoff contention, the New York Giants. If it's one thing the New York Giants going to do, it's stomp out the Commanders. That's the one thing they're going to do.
Let's just put it this way. Even when New York sports, a team wins, it doesn't feel like it. And that's what New York sports is.
Damn, Ross, you sound...
I'm very pissed off.
You never would have thought the New York Giants won.
No,
if you listen to Ross Levine the first time you turn it on the radio.
They shouldn't have tried to.
Well, they did.
Tried.
They did because they own the Commanders and Tommy DeVito. Listen, in Tony Soprano's household, that man is a legend.
Slings the ball.
Listen, man. He had the Italian celebration with the little... What was it?
I don't know what to call it. Hands. I thought that was an insult like 2 years ago.
Real. Like, I didn't want to call it the gabagool up here and be mad, like, discriminatory, but...
No, he's got the Jersey juice, they like to call it.
The Jersey juice?
Apparently he was walking around the building the whole week saying, I've got Jersey juice. That just sounds nasty. I don't want any of that.
Sounds questionable for sure, but...
Sounds like a guy that lives with his parents.
Oh, yeah. Because no real person talks like that.
No.
All week. But shout out to Tommy DeVito. He got it done, and the Giants got a big win.
I'm excited to see Antonio's reaction to a New York Giant win.
Yes.
3 interceptions.
Is it a big win, though, or does it just put him back like another year?
Yeah, it's a big win depending on who you talk to. Yeah. If you are Patriots or Cardinals or Bears fans, it's a huge win for you. But if you're a Giants fan, I don't know.
Big win for Jets fans because we're now 11th in the draft right now.
So y'all climbing up.
Moving on down.
Listen, man, what a fall from grace for the New York Jets. We will definitely get to them. In fact, we'll start with them. Before we do, let me introduce everybody. It's Joshua Umahi as your host. I am joined by Ross Levine, Devin O'Shea, and Liam Flynn. Antonio Gonzalez will join us in a moment. You can join us as well at 516-572-7440. And also on our text line at 516-905-WHPC. That's 9472.
Whoa.
What?
Something happened.
To start off the Jets talk, I guess, Zach Wilson is going to be the quarterback 3 on the roster.
Good. That's what he should have been.
Trevor Siemian will be in quarterback 2. All right.
Good. That's some good news after a rough Sunday.
They waited 3 weeks too long.
And he went from 1 to 3.
Try a year, Ross.
A year.
Man, listen. I mean, where do we even start with this? I'm previewing this game last week because the Jets, they lose to the Chargers, and they've just lost all these games. The loss to the Chargers especially I bring up because that defense was terrible. I'm thinking, if the Jets can turn it on in this game, they might have a chance. They did not turn it on in that game. They've now lost 3 straight. And you're looking at this game, you're in Buffalo, and Buffalo's making a ton of changes. They just lost an inexcusable game to the Broncos, who we'll get to later. And they're now, before yesterday, 5-5. They're firing offensive coordinators. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs might hate each other's guts. And even with all the destruction to the Jets season with Aaron Rodgers' injury and just Zach Wilson stepping in and not having it, Nathaniel Hackett not having it, Robert Saleh not having it, nothing really going on with the Jets except this defense, I'm still thinking they can go into Buffalo, which is the dumpster fire before this game, and put up a good fight at least. 32-6, the Jets lost.
Yeah.
And they didn't just lose on the scoreboard, obviously. I mean, I feel like we do this song and dance every week, but they lost in time of possession, 37 minutes to 23. Total yards, they only had, and I'm saying this with the Jets offense that we've watched the last 11 weeks, they only had 155 total yards of offense. They held the Bills down to under 400, which is, Josh Allen and James Cook and Stephon Diggs. That's actually a credit to them.
Which,
but
by the way, Stephon Diggs was a non-factor. He had 27 receiving yards yesterday.
Non-factor, and still I know Sauce Gardner was upset after the game because he gave up that, and I know he says it's not on him, but
no, he got beat.
My guy.
He got beat.
Yeah.
He knew where the ball was going.
Exactly. And that long touchdown to, I believe it was Khalil Shakir?
Yeah, Khalil Shakir.
How about his suplex on Stephon Diggs? He got a lot of anger out on that.
It was a few suplexes and comedy of errors yesterday because
with a spoon.
Yeah, and not just that, like the comedy of errors I'm watching because Jets football is now at the point where it's not just they're getting smoked on the scoreboard. Now you have Zach Wilson sprinting onto the field and tripping over himself. And then getting benched shortly thereafter. And then before that, you had Zach Wilson running on the sideline, trucking over Robert Saleh. And then Saleh with the form tackle on the sideline with the arm over Zach Wilson's chest. If you're a Jets fan, I can't imagine, Liam, like just the emotions. I mean, it's been all season, but this game especially.
Yeah, this game, there's a lot of things, right? I mean, now we're looking 5 straight games. Let's go back to the Denver game, right? Breece Hall since the Denver game. 63 attempts, 157 yards. He's averaging 2.5 yards per carry since the Denver game. Receiving, though, 239 yards on 23 receptions, 10.3 yards per catch with 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook in the same span, 13 attempts, 63 yards, 4.8 average. And he's been throwing the ball 5 times. He's caught the ball twice, 3 yards total. So Dalvin Cook was supposed to come here and be a receiving back. Breece Hall was supposed to get the bulk of the carries. I think you should flip that at this point. Dalvin Cook has looked better the past 5 weeks, obviously in limited attempts, only 13 attempts, but 4.8 yards per average, yards per carry. Breece Hall has been a much better receiving back than he's been a running back over the past 5 weeks. So why they haven't switched that up at all, giving Cook more carries, giving Israel Abanikanda more carries? Why not? You just cut Michael Carter, for God's sakes. And Zach Wilson should have been benched weeks ago. We know that. But let me and he was benched. Obviously, he's the QB3 now. He's not going to dress, which is the best move. But let me talk about Saleh real quick because he is horrible at his job.
And if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
He's not popping. He's got haters, but he's not popping. And the problem is he's 6'2", a former college tight end. And this guy is walking past 2 300-pound men in the tunnel, and Michael Clemens and Deion Dawkins just fighting. He keeps his head down, doesn't break a stride, and says, this isn't my job. This is the job for the 5'5" athletic trainers and the security guards at Highmark Stadium. This is their job. I shouldn't. Michael Clemens followed this guy into the tunnel, yelling at him, like, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? The game's over. You lost by 26. You did nothing.
Liam, he clocked out. The game was over. Come on now. Like, it's not part of his job anymore.
And you know what is part of his job, though? It's following opposing players into the tunnel and being like, hey, you want to go? We can go right now.
But you're popping. Maybe he keeps records like prime time. Maybe that's what it was. He's trying to see who won that fight, and then he'd keep the record and see who should start. I don't know.
They're prime time.
He walked with his tail between his legs and was like, I don't care. I don't care. Sauce Gardner suplexes Stephon Diggs. You're telling the Jets are averaging 6.5 penalties a game. They're 13th in the NFL in total penalties, and he's done nothing to improve on that. Guys are suplexing people in the third quarter 6 minutes after you let up an 80-yard touchdown. It's like, I'll just get all my anger out on Stephon Diggs, who has done nothing this game.
He's just chilling.
The Jets, they need to fire Saleh Ulbrich needs to be the interim. Let him get a head coaching job somewhere. Bring in a new head coach with experience. Because the Jets haven't brought in a head coach with experience. I mean, you can't count Adam Gase, the 3 years he had in Miami, but he was a nothing. He was a statue.
Do you do the Wombo combo, go Saleh and Hackett? Both out?
No. Keep Hackett because I want to see him with Rodgers.
Yeah.
I want to see him with Rodgers, and it's not like Hackett is. Listen, if Hackett has a competent quarterback, he could be a decent defensive coordinator. Just look at him in Jacksonville with Blake Bortles. But he crafted that 2 MVP, back-to-back MVP seasons for Aaron Rodgers. He crafted that playbook. Give him a chance with Aaron Rodgers. The problem is, though, hiring another head coach without experience. Gase, barely any experience. Bowles had interim experience. Rex Ryan, he gave him his first head coaching job. He gave Eric Mangini his first head coaching job. Herm Edwards, he gave the first head coaching job. You have to go back to Bill Parcells, where you're not giving somebody. He was hired in 1997. You have to go back to that's the last time a Jets coach had some sort of experience. And I'm not counting Gase. I'm not counting Bowles as an interim head coach. I'm not counting Groh as a college head coach for all those years. No, Parcells was the last guy with any sense of experience.
Bill Belichick.
But he's not going to come. He's not going to come to the Jets.
No,
he's not going to go to the Jets. He hates the Jets.
He left in the first place.
I think Belichick might end up with Caleb Williams next, possibly.
Oh my God.
He's not going to the Giants either. No, he's not going to the Giants. I think he's probably going to. I've heard the Commanders. I don't know why, but I've heard the Commanders.
Probably because they want the new culture and all that jazz.
Right, that's the thing. He gets a fresh start, and he gets to build that culture with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. He gets to create that all. He gets to build that back up.
It's all, like that Zach Wilson fall down was typical New York Jets, typical New York football sports. I mean, let's be honest. That is literally what it is.
It was a complete representation of this year.
It was the fall of Zach Wilson.
Everything about the Jets game was pretty rough to watch.
And like, to be honest with you, what's frustrating is that when you watch the rest of the NFL, whether it's a backup quarterback, a third-string quarterback, maybe not a third-stringer, but a backup quarterback, a starting quarterback, even when the line's not good, even when the quarterback's not great, they still put up points. They still put up yards, and they at least compete. But when you watch the Jets and when you watch the Giants, it's literally like they're playing a completely different sport, and it's like watching paint dry. It's literally like watching paint dry because it's like they don't know. It's like they don't know football. They don't know offensive football. They watch everybody else and it's like, wait, they're playing a completely different sport. The NFL is like a truck and New York is like the mud and they just run over the mud. That's literally what it is. That is literally what it is. And when you watch the Jets, which Zach Wilson should have been benched weeks ago. We understand that, but the fact is that the undisciplined is just absolutely killing this team. And it's the first time yesterday where the defense, I don't blame the defense, but the defense quit. They quit in the second because they knew that the offense was going to do nothing. That's what happened.
The offense quit too.
The offense quit too.
The Allen Lazard
quit week 2
when that fumble, that fumble that was almost ran back for a touchdown. I think it was the Garrett Wilson fumble. And it was almost run back to a touchdown. Yep. Allen Lazard stopped running on the 20-yard line, and then after the play, went and hugged the Bills player that scored that touchdown. Or it was obviously taken back, but he gave him a little pat on the back, gave him a little hug, like, oh, it's getting called back. It's not a touchdown, not yet at least, because, probably going to score anyway on the defense, who just, again, you could talk about the time of possession, being like, oh, the defense, they're just gassed and everything like that. But it was just a poor showing in general. It was a poor showing from the very beginning.
I mean, after the Jets game, too, you just got so many things that come out. You had the Tommy DeVito thing where, like, oh, he's thrown more touchdowns with less attempts and only 3 games starting or 2 games starting compared to Zach Wilson the whole, season. Mm-hmm. That came out. And then you had, for some reason, Sauce Gardner was being praised for clamping up Stephon Diggs and being compared to Darrelle Revis once again. And everyone was like, well, hold on. He left an 87-yard touchdown, so let's calm down here, folks. And then you had Garrett Wilson, on the other side, getting clamped up by some third-string guy, and then the Bills. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't third-string, but he did get clamped up by some Bills.
No, Rasul Douglas. He's good. Rasul Douglas looked like Darrelle Revis. Sauce Gardner was just like, all right.
Nassau Community College alum.
He had a pick.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's no way. That's
Swear to
great.
God.
Shout out to Rasul Douglas.
He was with the Packers for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't the Packers. He just got traded, I think, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that-
at the trade deadline.
And then you had
At least he got picked this year.
You had the ambulance come over. That game was just a mess. Just a mess all overall.
Oh yeah, the return of the ambulance.
I like that they took off the number 3 because
bullying works.
Was it actually number 3 on there?
The number 3, like when Damian Pierce was going in there, like number 3 was on the back of the.
Was he like driving the damn thing too? Why would they do that? That's insane.
And like they showed DeMar Hamlin when they're putting him. Like,
anytime there is any injury, the CBS director is like, go to DeMar right now.
He's not in the stadium. Get him in his house. Get him in his house. We have cameras.
It's like, can you get him over Zoom? Like,
you got a copter, right?
Get the fake one in here. The fake one is just fine. They don't know.
Dude, like, tweaks his hamstring. It's like, well, let's see what DeMar's facial expression is. And he's just looking, he's just like a straight face.
No, just eating a sandwich.
He's eating something.
Terrible, man.
I'm so
Comedy
done with
bears.
it. I'm so done.
I heard Ross's disappointment about the Giants winning. And Ross, you're just the worst type of Giants fan,
What?
man.
How is it my fault?
No,
what did I do? That's what it is.
You didn't play, Ross. It's not your fault we lost. I mean, when we won. The reason why you're the worst type of fan is because, like, I get we can't be so happy about the draft pick, but we could like be excited about seeing some good playing a quarterback we haven't seen in a while.
I'm not mad at the players. It's just unfortunate that like we're in this position where like winning a football game doesn't feel like winning a football game. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. But that's what happened when you're terrible for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
I mean, I don't know. Just watch Saquon like ball out.
Oh, no, it's
gonna
great
be
to
one of
see.
the final games he'll ball out because again he's not coming back. I just
not.
don't see it happening. But like it's just like the game was nice and the fact that like we beat the Commanders when they look like a good team sometimes. Like Sam Howell looks like a dog.
You swept them.
But we swept them. Like I don't know how. I mean the first game was ugly. There was only like 12 points scored in the first game playing against Commanders or like
we scored 14
to 7.
14-7. That was lame game.
They might need to fire Ron Rivera.
Oh yeah,
Honestly,
no,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have Ron Rivera
Definitely.
against the Eagles. They were almost beating them both games.
I don't get how that
and then you
works.
go against the Giants and you put up 7 points the first game.
You're not even going up against the Giants.
He's
It's
going
like
against like
this is-
DeVito and the boys. That's
yeah,
what we're
right.
against. That's
Like
about
Darren
it.
Waller, not there. Daniel Jones, not there. It's like it's not even
Tyrod
the
Taylor,
Giants.
not there.
Yeah.
I don't like
Who's
this
there?
disrespect towards Darius Slayton, the Giants'
Oh, my
leading
God.
receiver this
Oh, yeah, I
season.
forgot
Darius
about that.
Slayton.
This
Now
Darius
he's the
Slayton
lead-
slander.
Now he's the leading receiver.
was
After
just-
Darren Waller was there for weeks after he got hurt.
Yeah.
He was still up there at number 1.
Hey,
He was
man.
Nelson Aguilar for a quick minute.
I don't know.
We talk about the Jets and Giants incompetence. I do want to get to the Giants and spend a lot of time on them. A lot more time than we spent
Really?
last week. Yeah, we
Wow.
couldn't even say the Giants' name last week. I was
Redacted.
refusing
I
to
know.
do it. Redacted. Yeah.
redacted.
The Giants popped up on the game on Sunday, and my mom walked in. She was like, "It's the redacted." I was like, "Yes, yes."
I'm glad that's catching on because before yesterday they didn't deserve to be talked about like an actual football team.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Wouldn't it have been better if we got blown out? Wouldn't it have been better if we lost 55 to 3?
I don't know why that would have been the
thing,
case.
Ross.
It would have been way better if we lost 55 to 3.
Why?
Yes, it
here's
would've been
the
better.
thing. Obviously, you want a quarterback, right?
Yes.
But what is that quarterback going to do with no Saquon Barkley, no receiving
Right.
core, and no offensive line?
Yeah, but you have to start somewhere. I mean,
But thought we did with
that's
Daniel
you
Jones.
shouldn't start with a quarterback.
Yeah.
You should start with your offensive line.
Yeah,
You should
but-
start with the pieces around the quarterback. So when a rookie quarterback comes into the NFL, they have competence around them.
Yeah.
I've seen it with Sam Darnold. They gave him nothing, and he was
I know.
wasted.
Started seeing ghosts.
You wasted a pick.
no, I understand. Listen, both New York football teams need to fix their offensive lines. I'm not saying they don't, but you do need really good quarterback play. And like who knows, this rookie core that they still could draft a quarterback. I'm not saying that they can't, but they still could. But it's not going to be the whole point is now you have to reach for one.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is reach for one now.
Zach Wilson.
I wouldn't call it reaching. We know the Cardinals aren't going to pick quarterback now.
Oh, they are. Come on.
What?
No, but
Why
even
not?
not.
What do you
They,
think?
They
they
are,
said that
come
Kyler's
on.
contract is almost untradeable.
Yeah, but
no, it is.
practically.
Cardinals aren't getting a quarterback.
They're
We
not
don't have to
getting
worry
a
about them.
But
they-
what about the Patriots? They're number 3 right now.
They're
Why,
good.
why don't they get a quarterback?
All right,
They
so
are,
we
yeah.
talk about
Ross,
the
they could-
Patriots, maybe
Cardinals
the
could have
Bears.
got a quarterback
yeah.
last year. They went with an offensive tackle. They're not going
No, but if
quarterback.
Bill Belichick leaves, then they will get a quarterback because he
Oh,
won't be
yeah.
in charge anymore.
No, but even still, even if Belichick stays, I don't think they're sticking with Mac Jones.
No, they're
How
moving
could you
on.
stick with
No, I
Mac
mean,
Jones?
But they wouldn't get a quarterback early because, like, I don't know, they never do that. I mean, unless you think about Mac Jones. That's
Well,
why they won't
we
do it.
haven't had much of a sample size to go from. They've had Tom Brady for our entire life.
I guess so.
And then
They haven't had to pick a quarterback
Yeah.
anywhere near the top 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Drafted N'Keal Harry.
But now the Giants, their options, it's not really Drake May at this point.
No.
Like he's falling out of reach.
Bo Nix, baby.
Here's what I'll
6
say.
touchdowns in the first half.
Go.
He old as
Drake
hell.
May was. He had
Stetson Bennett.
I will say Drake May was horrible on Saturday. I will say I watched him play. He was bad. Not good.
He's also a sophomore. Like everybody's talking about drafting him in the top 3.
Yeah,
like he's a sophomore.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's going to be 21 years old entering training camp next year.
And by the way, Caleb Williams hasn't looked too good either in this latest USC, and that's probably his last game on Saturday. Got smoked by UCLA.
Colorado's looked terrible with Shedeur. I mean,
yeah, I mean Shedeur is definitely staying another year.
My God.
It's up to Quinn Ewers, Bo Nix, Penix, JJ McCarthy. I mean, there's a huge drop off from 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So now, like Ross said, you're going to have to reach. And as a Jets fan, I know we couldn't get Trevor Lawrence, so we had to settle for Zach Wilson.
And
oh my God!
You bring up Zach Wilson because I do want to wrap up the Jets topic now. So y'all opened up the show with it. The Jets finally benched Zach Wilson. Tim Boyle.
Yeah.
Tim Boyle will be the starter.
He knows the playbook.
Oh yeah,
Right.
He knows the playbook.
So
they say you know the
gonna be
playbook.
I have a note on Jim Boyle. Or Tim Boyle.
Jim Boyle.
I think
It doesn't even matter. You can call him
it
whatever
doesn't
you want.
matter. He's
Doesn't even
irrelevant.
matter.
It's a generic name.
It's very generic. Tim Boyle. 50.9 passer rating career. That is that's critically low.
3 touchdowns,
Hey,
right?
3 touchdowns to 9 picks.
Hey, next stop to the Hall of Fame. With those numbers,
He's a late bloomer.
This is crazy because this is the Jets. This is the Jets' saving grace move. The guy that has 21 point less passer rating than Zach Wilson.
I don't know if this is their saving grace. Maybe this is just like, let's get a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
at this point, you might be right.
Because Trevor Siemian has more NFL experience than Tim Boyle, and they're letting Trevor Siemian sit behind them.
Exactly.
So maybe they're at this point just like, all right, let's get a good pick for Aaron. Maybe we can get a wide receiver. Maybe we can get an O-line. Who knows, right? So I don't know. I'm not unhappy with it. And hey, maybe Tim Boyle's a late bloomer, and they could go win. They could still win 11 games this year.
They should have kept Mike White.
They should have.
Yeah.
And that should have been the end of Zach Wilson. Should have been when they benched him for Mike White. That should have been it. You should have cut ties with him then.
And this is where I put a question on the topic sheet too. Who needs to be held most accountable for the Jets' failings? Yeah, we talked about Saleh already. We talked about Hackett,
Douglas.
But Douglas
Joe Douglas.
I know he's drafted well, but we all watched Zach Wilson this past season, and I've said this multiple times on this show, and I promise you this is the last time I'll say it because it doesn't need to be heard anymore. We all know the reality, but you have a 40-year-old quarterback. 39 years old.
He'll be 40. He'll be 40 next time he throws the ball.
Exactly, which won't be in 5 weeks like they're talking about because this Jets season is over. Why would you bring him back?
Even if the Jets season was over, he was never coming back in the first place.
Let's
be real.
This has all been a publicity stunt. He goes in the Pat McAfee show every week to talk about himself.
It was like
coming back.
It was like Odell last season. Jerry Jones getting on radio shows every week and just being like, "Oh, we're close. We're gonna get to Odell. We're gonna have him.
He's
for
almost
the playoffs."
healthy. He's almost healthy.
He was
pain.
He was not going to be healthy. He got hurt in February.
He just got healthy today, basically, like yesterday. He's finally healthy now.
Last week, his first touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
The craziest ego trip. Like you bring up Odell and Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers knows damn well he's not coming back.
Yeah.
He knew damn well, and Aaron Rodgers held this team hostage because it's all about him, right? You can't bring in a Josh Dobbs who could actually win games for the Jets and get this team on a roll with that defense. And why bring Aaron Rodgers back? Josh Dobbs is playing well. Oh, Aaron Rodgers not having that. Aaron Rodgers is not having another quarterback stealing the spotlight.
How
it's
about
not happening.
Josh Dobbs plays well, and then you trade him for a pick, and you help bolster the team around Aaron Rodgers?
Oh my God! It's
like that's the thing. Joe Douglas, yeah, he's drafted well, but that doesn't give you an excuse to act like a complete jackass when you miss on a pick. Because they missed on Zach Wilson, and he's not. They haven't admitted it, and even after right now, somebody could get hurt. You never know because Mike White got hurt last year.
Well,
Zach Wilson had to come back. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL. And it's just going to be like, well, you know what, Zach, he's improved. We've seen him on the practice field. He's looked better. It's the exact same thing over and over again, and it's become a cycle for the Jets.
Well, when you have Robert Saleh going on the Michael Kay show and them asking him, why aren't you doing a change? Like, we've seen what's happened so far. Why haven't you done a change? And he says, I plead the fifth. That is him saying Joe Douglas is the one that's making the moves for me. He's the one that's choosing who starts at quarterback.
Saleh could very well be complicit in it, and he's just like, you know what? I've never been asked this question before. I really don't know. But the answer has to be because Douglas and Saleh both bonded over that pick at number 2 overall. We're like, this is our future.
At least he doesn't say a joke about how Tommy DeVito is done growing. Oh my God! Like, I'm pretty sure.
What,
he's
you
done
didn't like
growing.
that?
No, I didn't like that.
Come on, why not?
Shut up, Dable. Shut up. No, coach a better team. Ridiculous.
Ross is just like,
boom.
He hasn't grown.
I don't know what to say to that.
Actually, I think he's stopped growing by now. He's old enough. Shut up, Dable. Boom. Eat a salad.
oh my God. The Jets, and we will wrap up the Jets topic right now with this. I saw a tweet. I want to give the credit as soon as I find it, but this is going to be Tim Boyle, the 16th Jets quarterback in the last 15 seasons since Brett Favre in 2008. This is a list that includes Kellen Clemens and Michael Vick,
Christian
Hackenberg, Bryce Petty.
Bryce Petty, Jets legend right
what
there.
What about Geno Smith?
Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. This is his team company right here.
Sanchez.
Geno Pizzeria. Yeah, Geno Pizzeria. You gotta get that
Darnold.
Geno. You gotta get that Geno.
I'll give the Jets credit for one thing, because y'all were a part of Geno's origin story.
Yeah.
Origin story.
And now
I don't believe he did. That's my fault. Origin story with getting punched out for a $50 bet.
Yeah. No, I think it was like a favor for a donation thing that some teammate wanted him for, and he said, "Yeah, I'll come. I'll post up, no problem." Didn't pull up.
I don't know, man.
He doesn't write back. He doesn't pull up either.
Why don't you come?
They could have done. They could have been.
I was waiting for that one.
Me too.
Devin, you're like CEO of this, man. Every week I tune in, there's some button of you like saying the wildest things. And you'd be like, hey, context matters. I don't think it does.
Context never matters.
Yeah, because a lot of time he doesn't preface it with context. He's like, well, context matters. It's like, but you never introduced the context.
Touch former players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man. Quickly on the Giants before we go to break, and we'll pick up the Giants conversation after the break. Like I said to start the show, the one thing the Giants going to do is stomp out the Commanders. They are 108, 71, and 5 all time against Washington. That's a 60% winning percentage. They're 31 and 16 against Washington since 2000. They're 8-2-1 against Washington. Mind you, this is the worst era of Giants football in the past decade we've ever seen. 8-2-1 against Washington in the last 11 meetings, including a 2-0 sweep this season.
And that's the one team
crazy.
That's the one team I don't hate in the division. I wish there was any other team in the division would be nice. That's the one team I don't hate in the division. I don't mind them.
I completely agree with you.
The Giants can never beat the Cowboys and Eagles. Like every single season, it's just a 4 games of just stomping out. But they'll smack down the Commanders, though.
The only time they beat the Cowboys was when Eli Manning was playing in the postseason, and that is about it.
Yep.
And a few regular season games.
Yeah, to open up AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
They beat the Cowboys.
4 score, and however that goes.
That one game.
Time ago.
The playoff game.
Yep.
Terrible. I mean, listen. This doesn't surprise anybody. I mean, the win was nice, yeah. Tommy DeVito. Mind you, Tommy DeVito passer rating, only Brock Purdy, who put up a perfect passer rating, had a better passer rating in week 11.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's back.
Tommy DeVito.
There we go.
Tommy DeVito, I can't believe this. Just when you think, like, I'm watching Tommy DeVito, he doesn't look like an NFL quarterback at all. Just terrible against the Cowboys, terrible against all the 4 games he's played.
He's an NPC.
He's an NPC, literally. He's an Italian NPC. With all due respect, just very non-player character vibes, but 3 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley got going. Kayvon Thibodeau, who Brandon Tierney is convinced is a draft bust. He's tied for 5th in the league in sacks. He's ahead of Micah Parsons.
I want to hear Brandon Tierney on the bench. On the benching of Zach Wilson.
Tierney.
Gotta believe. You believe in Brandon?
You believe in cooler.
Yeah. Tierney's a boss. Let's be honest. He is. Oh my god. Like he's so delusional. It's like Mondays. Like, oh, they're done, the season's over. But Friday comes around, it's like, hey, we never know, the Jets could win this game. Like that's him.
And then, like, usually you have the idiot on radio, and the
Oh, my
smart
God.
dude's supposed to like balance it out. But Sal Licata, bro, that's his running mate.
They don't fit.
It doesn't work.
It's just two like overly emotional people just going back and forth, and it's like there's no competence there.
Just screaming and yelling. Kayvon Thibodeau's a bust, and calling out Carl Banks, a Giants legend.
Let's hang up on a 2-time Super Bowl champion because Sal Licata knows better than him. No, Sal Licata knows better than Carl Banks.
Terrible.
But it's his show. You can't tell him what to do. Can't tell him, how to deal with guests and callers and whatnot.
WFAN, bro.
Banks quit on them. He quit, which is good. He resigned.
Yeah, because he's not getting shown respect by,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying that these two people don't know anything about sports, but there's a difference between watching it and playing it professionally and winning at the highest level. There's a big difference there. And you don't treat first of all, you don't treat human beings like that. You don't treat a guest on your show. Because nobody else is going to want to come on after that.
Absolutely. Man, listen, the Giants won. Ross is not too happy about it, but I'm with Antonio a little bit. Like, it was good to see this franchise actually put out a winning product for once.
Yep.
You're not happy about that, at least?
No, I'm happy for
a small slip of competence.
I doesn't be happy. He's not happy ever, this guy.
They haven't given me a reason to. But like the point I'm trying to make is like they haven't given me any reason to. I mean, I will say like it's good for the coaches, it's good for the players because everybody's saying, oh, it's going to get ugly in that locker room. The player's going to quit on the coach. Well, that's why you feel good for the coaches because they're not quitting. They're going to play hard, and that's a good thing.
Listen, Brian Dable's the defending coach of the year. We don't talk about it a lot, but how many more games is he going to win?
The door is still open on a 9-8 season right now.
9-7-1. It's better than 9-8. You have to have that tie in there. That one tie.
Yeah.
Oh, great tie.
Great tie.
Tie in a suit.
Yeah. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the NFL Sunday recap as customary on Mondays. A lot of headlines this weekend. We'll get to the weekend's headlines as well.
First ever game on Friday.
Yeah.
Yep. Then
everybody should wear black because it's the Jets' funeral.
Exactly.
They really said Amazon Prime, don't worry. We know you don't get Thanksgiving football, but you have the first ever Black Friday football. Let's go, guys.
And speaking of the
sign
Jets,
that contract.
I gotta wear a suit for the funeral for the Jets.
Speaking of the Jets in funeral suits too, Joe Namath we got to get to as well. He's got some allegations.
Stinky inky.
The tickets give me like $7 for Black Friday. Like
that's what you're worried about?
They better be. Hold up.
Black Friday
makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the other side of the break on 90.3 WHPC.